You poor thing. She kissed the back of her teeth. It must suck trying to act all high and mighty when in reality, you're nothing more than this, doesn't it? I turned to Raymond, who just stood there like I wasn't being mocked and downgraded in his presence, and it hurt to see that even though he could defend me and spare me all this pain, he didn't. As a princess, I can understand the pain your kind goes through every single day wanting to be something, or someone they're not. As she spoke, she rummaged through her purse as she took out some cash, taking my hand as she put it in. Take care of yourself, darling. She winked at me before linking her hand in Raymond's as they left me standing there. Alice's mixed emotions of both pity and "you deserve it" pouring down on me. I put the money on the table as I rushed out to the dining table where I'd set all the food for Raymond's birthday, and seeing all the food laid out and untouched, I recalled how Raymond had looked at her, and how he hadn't even bothered to stand up for me when she put me down. I sat at the dining table as I grabbed a fork, digging into the food as I ate like a hungry lion, but I'd barely made it 3 digs in when my salty tears started to taste in my mouth as Raymond's words replayed in my head. And one important. Your kind has nothing to do with hers. This is just a transaction. Arya, did you not try to change whatever this is? I coughed, finally choking on the food as I hit my chest, more tears streaming down my cheeks as the vivid images of their hands locked in and wild imaginations of what they'd been doing in the room together. For all that time came to mind. I grabbed the alcohol that lay on the table as I gulped it in an entire go, ignoring the burn in my throat and chest. It didn't even burn half as much as Raymond and Ashley getting back together did. I wanted to feel numb to all the pain, but I failed. In the end, the alcohol just made the images more clear in my head. Arg! I screamed as I pulled on my hair, turning away from the dining as I burst into more tears. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. I held on to my stomach as I buried my face in my laps, the pain surging through me as I bit the inner flesh of my lips. I must go to the pack hospital. I deserved the pain. I'd gone and drunk even when I knew I was pregnant. Arya. Eric, the pack's doctor who happened to be my friend, called out, concerned as he rushed to me, his hands coming comfortably around me as he helped me into the office's bed as I laid on it, my breathing pace increasing. It's you. How come you're registered as Miss instead of Luna? I could hear the concern in his voice. Eric. I muttered as my wolf kicked even harder within me. I don't feel too well. I changed the topic. I didn't want Raymond knowing about the baby yet, so I'd applied for a different package of hospital services. He nodded. I can see that. What's wrong? Did something happen? I'm pregnant, but I drank alcohol. My wolf is restless. Please check on the baby. I don't want to lose my child. I muttered the last part as a plea as again I felt my eyes start to water. Damn these hormones. He raised his brow as with permission. He raised my top till my stomach was in view. How do you feel here? I answered as he pressed the middle part of my stomach gently. As professional as he was, he finished with his checkup, eyeing me in a scolding way before sighing as he wrote something down. I could tell he was upset with me for naming such a mistake, but he said nothing. He must have already known I was going through a lot and didn't need more. The baby is fine. He paused as I heaved a sigh of relief. His brows knitted, complicated emotions in his eyes. Does Alpha Raymond know? I looked down, shaking my head slowly as my eyes continued to water. He sighed. I know he ordered for your identity to be kept a secret, Arya, but he deserves to know the truth. This is his child we're talking about here. His words trailed off my mind as memories of Raymond and Ashley's interactions flooded my mind, his words still sending arrows into my heart. No, I'm an Omega. He would never allow my kind to birth his offspring. I felt the bitter taste on my tongue after the words left my lips. We spoke for a little longer, and I was grateful that by the time I was leaving, with the drugs he prescribed, I was feeling better. As I walked into the hallway, I spotted Raymond and Ashley, immensely close as usual, and I looked away. Shoving the medication into my bag, I did my best to avoid them, wanting to walk past them as casually as possible because the last time I let them get to me, well, it got me here. As I walked past them, I felt my heart ache, my wolf kicking, but I ignored it. My baby mattered more than whatever they were doing. Arya. I froze at the mention of my name from that voice. What the hell are you doing here? Arya's POV. Alpha Raymond. How much it stung to address the man I was in love with, the only man who'd taken me to heaven and back, By his title that he furrowed his brows as he stared at me, like he could tell something was wrong, but I knew better than to have extremely high hopes when it came to him. I asked something. What are you doing here? His tone was still cold. Stomach flu. I lied as I held on tighter to the drugs Eric had handed me. It's not a big deal. I'll be fine. Another lie. How could I be fine being having a baby I couldn't give up and at the same time, couldn't afford the father knowing of? Yet, he was silent, staring at me, as if trying to confirm whether my words were true or not. Such little trust. He finally made a sound as he nodded in a rather suspicious way. I hope you're not lying to me or doing something stupid. I'm not. Yet another lie. What was going on with me? How could I tell these lies without so much as even blinking? My eyes traveled between Raymond and Ashley. I was acting like a few days ago this man wasn't buried inches deep in me, making me orgasm in ways I never could, so what were a few lies I was telling to keep my baby safe? Good. Now return to the pack and finish with your work. His voice held so much anger laced with bitterness of my presence that I let out an exhale as I bowed out of courtesy, wanting to turn and leave when Ashley grabbed my hand. My heart dropped when I saw one of her arms was still interlocked with Raymond's. Why wouldn't she be happy? She had everyone's, my dream man with her, and they seemed happy together. She definitely had what many would kill for, and it was a good reason to be happy. No need to be in a hurry, Arya. I hated how I was the only one who could tell the mixed emotions in her voice whenever she called my name. On the outside she sounded like she liked me, like she was excited to be around me, but deep down I knew she hated me and would do everything in her power to put me down. She cleared her throat. Actually, Raymond and I came for a physical exam today. I'm so excited to be preparing for an air with him. Her voice squealed genuinely at the last sentence, and turning to Raymond, he didn't seem to be denying it. I took in a deep breath as I forced a smile, even though my heart was going to come right out of my chest at any moment. Congratulations in advance. She let out an excited exhale as I kept my eyes on Raymond, hoping he would pull his hand out of hers and cup my face, telling me it wasn't real. That couldn't be more than a wish, though. Something I couldn't even dream about, because the reality was, he was with Ashley and together, they were unstoppable. This will be the fruit of our two great packs. A union, one that'll be unbreakable. She shook her head like she'd just imagined something out of this world. Merely thinking about it thrills the hell out of me. I felt a knot form in my chest as I forced a smile, refusing to let either of them see the pain I was in. I was dying. It was like I was at the edge of the sword, merely waiting for my head to cut off. But I refused to give any of them the pleasure of seeing me weak. I'm really happy for both of you. I wish you both the best with your future, and I hope it comes out well. I'd been telling lies all day to them, but this was the biggest lie I'd told all day. When I saw that there was nothing left to say, I excused myself as I steadily made my way out of the hospital's building that I took on my heels, running till I got into my room at the pack house, going straight into the bathroom as I shut the door behind me, the drugs on the sink as I stared at myself in the mirror, waiting for my tears to start pouring. But there was nothing. Looking into the mirror, I saw nothing but my reflection. My reflection with no emotions in my eyes. Sadness, heartbreak, depression, disappointment, hurt. None of it was present. I just felt like I'd been trapped in a body without a soul, that I'm so excited to be preparing for a little one with him. Even Ashley's words didn't so much as strike emotion in me, and I gulped as I stared at the medication Eric had prescribed me. Make sure you take care of yourself, Arya. Avoid stress and anything that'll make you unhappy, because the baby's mood depends on you. He cast me a worried look before continuing. Since you don't want anyone finding out about the baby, I'd suggest you transfer the content of the medication into these containers. As I recalled his words, I stared at the nameless containers and drug wrappers. With these, peradventure, anyone came across the drugs. I doubted anyone would, since no one gave a flying shit about me now. They would just assume it was for my stomach flu, that I took the prenatal drugs. As I started to transfer them into the container Eric had handed me, and as I did, I felt my wolf start to jump within me. My scenting senses become heightened. Ashley. I heard that baritone voice call out my name. I bit my lips as I quickly finished up with what I was doing, grabbing the prenatal containers as I threw them into the toilet, flushing immediately without even thinking straight. And just then, the door came open, causing me to freeze as the air around me suddenly became so suffocating due to the presence of the man who just walked in. I had my back turned to him, but I could see part of his reflection from the mirror above me. He eyed me warily. What were you doing so sneakily? He raised his brow. What did you throw away? Arya's POV. I turned around slowly, my heart beating faster than a ticking time bomb as I swallowed. Having him stand just a few inches away from me, even if we weren't making physical contact, was causing me to feel weak in the limbs and making my wolf to jump so much within me, and I hated my body and wolf for betraying me in times like these. You were what? He sounded impatient, like he couldn't wait to be done talking to me, even though he'd been the one who came all the way into my bathroom. I was taking medicine. That was just trash. It sounded like the perfect thing to say, especially as I'd just returned from the hospital. He stared at me, a hint of doubt evident in his eyes, but he blinked it away in a second, returning to his usual cold and expressionless face. He looked behind me, to the containers on the sink as he let out a soft exhale. It had been soft, but it had felt like I was in front of a heater as I grabbed onto the sides of my dress, doing my best to remain rooted to the spot. He took 2 steps closer as I moved to the side before he took the containers, examining them carefully as his brows twitched slightly, and it felt like my heart had been caught in my throat. My entire being froze the moment he grabbed the container of stomach flu medicine. What if he found out the truth? I felt a little bit of life return to me when I saw his face relax, seemingly not so suspicious of me. He kept the container gently on the sink as he turned to me, making me unable to miss the aloof look he still had on his face, even though he did a good job masking it. It's just 3 more months. I hope you don't do anything that'll leave Ashley suspicious of whatever happened between us. He warned. Didn't he have enough from hurting me already? Arya's POV. Ah! I gasped as I rubbed my forehead gently, shaking my head as I hoped it'd push all the pain to the back of my head. That I rubbed my neck gently as Raymond's words from last night came back to mind. What's there to miss or remember about an Omega like you? I'd slept through it, but recalling it still stung. Arya? I heard my name as a knock followed on the door. I looked at the wall clock. Who could be here to see me so early in the morning? Coming. I responded as I fixed my hair, rushing to the door as I opened it to see Ashley and Beta Luke, Raymond's Beta, standing at the door, luggages in hand. Is anything wrong? What are you doing here by this time, and I hope everything is fine. It didn't really bother me to see Beta Luke, but Ashley, I didn't even like breathing the same air as she did. She pushed the luggage she had with her in front as she scoffed, flipping her hair behind her as she rolled her eyes. Aren't you the maid here? She eyed my clothes. Why aren't you dressed in the maid's uniform, and how can you still be in bed by this time? Are you some sort of princess or Luna? She taunted me, and I turned to Beta Luke even though I knew he wouldn't say anything, but he stared at me blankly. If only she knew it. I let out an exhale as I made to speak, but then again she cut me off. After Alpha Raymond and I get married, I want everyone to know their place. Guests should be dressed as guests and the workers. She eyed me with contempt. They should be dressed to match their positions. Guards as guards and maids as maids. I took a deep breath, refusing to let her words get to me. Eric had warned me about letting myself get stressed, and I wouldn't let someone like Ashley push me. She grabbed her bag as she threw it at me. Come on, move my things. You're the only maid who seems to be lazying around in the whole house, so I figured you could do some moving around. She gestured at her things. Move them to the Alpha's chambers. She stepped aside, and so did Beta Luke, and when they did, my jaw almost dropped in shock at the amount of luggage she had with her. What was she planning to do with all of this? Fund a charity home's clothing and feeding for an entire year? Didn't you hear me? She snapped her fingers in front of me as I came out of my daze. Start moving. She clapped, and I took in a deep breath as Raymond's words replayed in my head. Regardless of what happened, I couldn't let Ashley find out about anything. That I grabbed the less heavy stuff as I started to move them to the chamber, and for the most part, it wasn't that bad until I reached the heavy stuff. Come on, use those hands. Don't waste my time. I've got a lot to do today. She expressed displeasure at the pace of my work. What I did to this woman to make her hate me so much, even though the feeling was kind of mutual, I didn't know. But what I knew was that I couldn't afford to give her more reason to. I grabbed the box as I started to move towards the chambers, and I'd gotten so close when suddenly, I felt a sharp pain in my stomach. I gasped as I felt my hands weaken, the box coming out of my hand as all Ashley's clothes came spluttering out of it. You goddamned little bitch. Her screams followed as next thing I knew, I felt a hand push me with so much force I staggered, twisting my ankle as I closed my eyes, waiting for the impact of the fall, when I suddenly felt a Beta Luke's hand around me, breaking my fall. Luna? He seemed to realize his mistake immediately as he changed his tone. Arya, are you okay? He scanned me for any possible injuries, and I nodded. Ashley's mocking laughter brought me out of my thoughts as she looked down at my stomach. You've been holding on to your stomach for quite some time now. Don't tell me you're pregnant. Hit and dump. She scoffed, making sure she mocked me and hit me in the places it hurt the most. Raymond! She called out excitedly and turned to see Raymond arrive from his pack meeting. I took my hands off my stomach, doing my best to have a normal expression on my face, even though it was hard, especially as I had to watch her give him a quick kiss. I'm sorry about the clothes, I apologized. I didn't want to drag this out because that would lead to Raymond becoming more suspicious. I bent as I started to put them back in the box in a hurry. I didn't mean for it to happen. You didn't mean to, but you did dirty my clothes. My hands clenched around the zipper area of the box as I feared this was heading exactly where I didn't want it to. Since she dirtied my clothes, she should hand wash them, shouldn't she? Her voice became low, like in a puppy pleading voice, as she turned to Raymond. There's a washing machine here. We can always make use of that. It's more efficient and faster. Beta Luke tried to help me, but it was Ashley against me. We really didn't stand a chance. Those clothes were made from luxury materials, Beta Luke. They cost me thousands of dollars. Do you really expect me to toss them in some ridiculous washing machine? The goddess forbids that. She shook her head as she forced her body to shudder at the thought of it, that I raised my head as my eyes locked with Raymond's. He turned away almost immediately as he focused on Ashley's hopeful gaze, his hand still in his pocket. Hand wash. Ashley is the future Luna of this pack, and as such, her orders and requests are to be followed and attended to. If she wants her clothes hand washed, he paused. Then, her clothes can only be hand washed. Arya's POV. I'll wash them. My voice was faint, and even though I'd known better than to expect any more from Raymond, I was still disappointed. My heart sank as I raised my head toward Raymond, feeling suffocated by his favoritism towards Ashley. He didn't seem to bat an eyelid, and I clenched my fists as I forced the sourness rising in my throat back down. This wasn't the time for nausea or any pregnancy-related symptoms. Expecting a parade. Get going. Ashley nudged with her head as she rolled her eyes. I let out an exhale as I grabbed the box, pushing it with all my might towards the laundry room. As I did, I heard her scowl, her voice lower than usual. The maids should know their place, don't you think? She grumbled. Her voice held so much contempt, and she didn't even bother to disguise it. I ignored her as I went straight to the laundry room, getting straight to work. As I did my work, I couldn't help but be reminded of Raymond's words. Ashley is the future Luna of this pack, and as such, her orders and requests are to be followed and attended to. Those words would live with me for a very long time. Stupid Raymond. I muttered to myself as I squeezed the clothes, carefully spreading them on the rack to dry. How can't he see through whatever she's doing? I rolled my eyes as I bent to pick another top, but just then, a knot formed in my stomach, a sharp pain following as the pain traveled through my body. I gasped as without any warning, vomit came out of my mouth into the drainage system. Luckily, I staggered as my vision started to become blurry. I stretched my hand, hoping to find something I could hold on to, but there was nothing but AI. Or did my knees weakening was the last I recalled before I was suddenly enveloped with darkness. You're awake, I heard a cold voice say as I slowly opened my eyes to find myself in my room, Raymond's unique figure beside my bed as usual. He was expressionless, his eyes only scanned my body every now and then, and that was when it dawned on me that I'd passed out. My goodness! I exclaimed as I sat up on the bed, his gaze still unsettled. Had he found out about my pregnancy? Was that why he was staring at me the way he currently was? I gulped as my hands reached for the sheets, squeezing them as I fought the urge to bring my hand to my stomach. What are you doing here? I know it's not because you care. You've made it very clear you don't. I asked. I didn't know why I was saying all of that, but anything to distract myself from the possibility he'd found out about our baby. You passed out, he said without any emotions. Dr. Eric examined you and now we're waiting for the results. He didn't even bat an eyelid as he spoke. Was he even a werewolf? Dr. Eric hasn't said anything yet, right? My anxiety was getting the best of me, and if they didn't know the truth yet, they were going to find out. And if he has? My heart clenched as I felt bile rise in my throat at the thought of what Raymond would do if he found out I was with child. His child. He'd made it clear he didn't want any children with me. Nothing. I cleared my throat as I tried to avoid eye contact with him. Goodness, why was it so hot in here now? I just wanted to know. Half truth, half lie. His eyes remained on me, like he was probing and scrutinizing me, and I felt the hairs on my skin stand, especially as my wolf started to jump within me. I'm here now. Eric rushed in with medical files and I heaved a sigh of relief. About goddamn time.